Welcome to another VeVe Digital Collectibles comic breakdown. I'm Corey with VeVe, and today we're getting another epic first full appearance comic from Marvel with the entry of Amazing Spider-Man number 4. That's right, this is the comic where Cindy Moon would make her first full appearance as Silk, which was part of the original Sin story arc. And we'll talk about the character and story here in a second. First, the drop details. Amazing Spider-Man number 4 is scheduled for release on Tuesday, May 23rd at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Meaning 7,500 editions across the 5 variants, this comic will have a retail price of 6.99 gems. And we have a bit to unpack with this comic, but by the end of this video, you're going to be hip to who Silk is, how she fits into the overall Marvel comic universe, and why Silk is one of the characters I keep my eyes on. Published on July 23rd of 2014 with art by Humberto Ramos and writing by Dan Slott, this comic gives us the full costume appearance of Silk, aka Cindy Moon. Silk's original costuming concept was wild, custom spun by Cindy Moon herself. And when I say first full appearance, that's because this character had made multiple cameos in comics prior to this one. There was a lot of lead up to the first full appearance of Silk. In Amazing Spider-Man numbers 1, 2, and 3, we'd see small cameos of Cindy Moon. These cameos were all from behind or simply promotional teasers. It would be in this comic where the teasers would end and Silk would make her big appearance. Cindy Moon was bitten by the same exact radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker. It bit his hand, fell to the ground, and then bit her in the ankle. But unlike Peter Parker, who was able to keep his power secret from pretty much everyone, Cindy Moon webbed up her parents and was immediately discovered by Ezekiel Sims. If you remember back when Marvel released Black Panther number 5 on VeVe, the first in-story appearance of Shuri as Black Panther, we talked a fair amount about Morlun, a vampiric being who feeds off the animal totems that give people superhuman abilities. And we also chatted about how Morlun was primarily a Spider-Man villain, as those who gain the powers from the spider totem are of particular interest to Morlun. Ezekiel Sims' fear and knowledge of Morlun led him to train and hone Cindy Moon's abilities, and together they decided that it would be best if Cindy locked herself away in a bunker that would hide her presence from Morlun and prevent him from seeking her out to destroy her. Now enter Peter Parker. He just recently recovered his body after Doc Ock had used some weird science to do a brain swap. This was Dr. Octavius's gamble to prove that he could be a better Spider-Man, which you can read all about in the Superior Spider-Man story arc on Marvel Unlimited. During this time when Doc Ock was masquerading as the Superior Spider-Man, it pretty much ruined all of Peter Parker's personal and professional relationships. And ever since Peter Parker was back in his body, he's been trying to re-establish that. For instance, he now awkwardly has Anna in his apartment, a girlfriend that Doc Ock had made while masquerading as Peter Parker. In the bigger picture, and unknown to Peter Parker, the Watcher Uatu had recently been murdered and his eyes had been stolen. This is part of the original Sin story arc this comic ties into. Peter gets the call to assist the Avengers in their fight with the Orb and the Mindless Ones, and when he gets there, all he cares about is letting everyone know it's actually him. Orb unleashes the power of the Watcher's eyes, crippling everyone on scene. In a millisecond, this power unleashes millions of secrets upon everyone who was there. While each experience was unique, the major secret revealed to Spider-Man is that he isn't alone. He wasn't the only one bitten by that radioactive spider. And with this newfound knowledge that there's another person just like him who was bitten by the same exact radioactive spider, he speeds across the city to locate her, and the closer he gets, the more his spider senses go crazy. He frees this new friend only to be greeted by an enraged Cindy Moon. She didn't want to be freed because she didn't want Morlun to discover her and others like her. And it sets in motion a whole series of events we'll hopefully chat about in the future. But for today, this is the moment Cindy creates a costume, reveals her name, unites with Spider-Man, and her story begins. And what a story it's been so far. Cindy Moon as Silk has had a prolific run in comics, and she's a distinct character in her storytelling. Her Korean American heritage shines a unique light on a culture. And and her isolation in the bunker attached a sort of social anxiety to her character that's very relatable for many readers. In her story, which now has spanned hundreds of comics, it all started right here with the comic we're looking at today, Amazing Spider-Man number 4. And adding to that history, we have our VeVe exclusive rare and ultra rare covers. These are coming from Philip Tan and Israel Silva. These two recently collaborated on New Mutants number 1, which gave us the premiere issue of the first ongoing New Mutants series. Really love the energy they brought to that one, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of their collaborative work coming to the platform. Let's take a closer look at all the covers releasing and those mint numbers. First, the Common Classic cover is minting 4,500 editions. I had mentioned that Silk made a cameo in Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and this cover, among others, was teased at the end of that comic. Humberto Ramos was the artist for the original cover, and his style and use of soft pencils really gives this art a unique feel. Next, the Uncommon Vintage variant is minting 1,687 editions. Cindy Moon gets the color selection on this one, which makes sense given this is her first full appearance as Silk. We see the original Sin title in the top left as a reminder of where this comic and character fit into the big picture of that amazing story arc. Our first VeVe exclusive is the rare Hero variant, and it's minting 750 editions. Philip Tan gives us his take on Silk, and it's a stunning one. I think most readers of this comic felt exactly like Spider-Man did when he watched Cindy Moon spin a spider suit for the very first time. It's an iconic scene and brilliant concept. Given Silk's costuming would change over time, it's epic to have this cover in our collections to remind us of her origins. Next, the ultra rare Vibranium variant is minting 375 editions. Israel Silva adds his strength as a colorist to Philip Tan's abilities as an artist. And here we see the result. When Cindy Moon would emerge from the bunker and be sensed by Morlun, he would call her the Spider Bride and the spinner at the center of the web. This cover gives us that literally, as Silk sits in the center of her web. Finally, the secret rare True Believer variant is minting 188 editions. This interior art is being sourced from a 2-page spread. I really love the action and placement of Silk as it fills out this cover space nicely. This image depicts the moment Silk emerges from the bunker and experiences freedom for the first time in many, many years. From here forward, she'd swing her way through many different stories and spider universes. And that's a wrap for this breakdown video. Best of luck if you decide to go for this one. I'm a big fan of Silk. I'm really just a big fan of Spider-Man in general and all of the associated spider characters out there. What other spider characters are you looking forward to seeing release on VeVe in the future? Let us know down in the comments. And until the next breakdown video, keep learning, sharing, and collecting what you love. This is Corey with VeVe, signing off.